Hello everyone, welcome along to the Portuguese Grand Prix qualifying then. The live stream for Portuguese Grand Prix. We're just waiting to hear that we are okay and we are good and we are up and running. Then let's just see when Charlie will be here. That we are okay. And yes, we are up and running, I think. Yeah, we are all good, right. Hello, everyone. Welcome along. It's time for qualifying. Well, it's nearly time for qualifying at Portimao. We've got, as it says on your screen there, 3 o'clock. We will get underway at a slightly later time today. It's been an interesting opening start to this weekend then. We've had a mixed match practice session. Valtteri Bottas heading FP1. Lewis Hamilton headed FP2. And Max Verstappen topped FP3 this morning. Coming up, we're going to have Valtteri will be reflecting on his crash at Imola just a few weeks ago. But yeah, he's had a very tough time, hasn't he? And Charlie Tolhurst is here. I'm just going to add him. And hello, Charlie.
Hello. Oh, wow. What a day I've had of internet issues. I'm finally up and running now.
Charlie, obviously, everyone's wearing black this weekend. I know you put out a post about it this morning. I did this morning as well on Instagram. Obviously, 27 years ago today, Charlie, we lost a fantastic Formula One driver of Ayrton Senna. And I'm pretty sure, Charlie, if he was watching down at Portimao this afternoon, he'd be wishing that he was racing on this roller coaster of a circuit. And I'm pretty sure he would be on the edge of his seat at the start of this F1 season like the rest of us.
Yes, Jack, I want to start off by paying my tributes to Ayrton Senna, who is a 3-time F1 world champion. He won 41 races across 10 seasons in the sport. Used to race with Lotus or Tolman in 1984, Lotus between 1985 and 1987, McLaren between 1988 and 1993. And of course, he used to race for Williams in 1994. But however, though, of course, that year saw the Black Weekend at Imola and many drivers, few drivers crashed out, but 2 deaths occurred at Imola. Roland Ratzenberger on the Saturday after his Simtek lost his front wing, and then on Sunday, lap 7, the most tragic event in F1 history, the fatal crash of Ayrton Senna down at the notorious Tamburello. My thoughts are with Ayrton Senna and his family. Many tributes will be paid across many motorsport series this weekend.
And Charlie, the cars are all running with the Brazilian logo on them, the Brazilian flag this weekend. What did it mean to you, Charlie, watching Ayrton at his prime? Obviously, he won his first race in Portugal at Estoril, but you know, when Ayrton was racing, there was just that buzz that you got, and you didn't seem to get that from anyone else, did you?
No, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm glad I'm wearing my Williams T-shirt today because Senna did used to race for Williams and in the 1994. And I sort of watched Senna. I've seen the movie. I've seen his career. I mean, he was an incredible driver. Yes, he had a few incidents. Yes, he had a rivalry with Prost between 88 and 89 at McLaren. But I think Senna showed so much determination. And if any of you guys are listening to this live stream right now, 1988 at Monaco was one of the greatest pole laps in Formula One history, where Senna lapped Monaco over a second quicker than his teammate Prost. And that lap was described as one of the greatest laps in F1 history. Sadly, though, Senna lost it in the wall.
To this day, no lap can beat that, can it? You know, when he's going into the back, one hand on the wheel, holding the gear stick, you know, it's an incredible piece of footage, and it's probably my favourite piece of F1 footage ever.
I mean, Jack, Lewis Hamilton commented on this quite a few years ago when he watched Senna's lap with Martin Brundle in the McLaren Hospitality, and he said, I mean, that's incredible. Like, he also went up, I think, was it like Beau Rivage? It was in 1990, up one-handed as well. Because back then, the cars had manual gearboxes. They had clutches. You had to change.
They didn't have it on the steering. They didn't have it on the steering wheel like they do now, did they, Charlie?
No, because the gearboxes back then were manual. Well, mind you, I'd say Ferrari were running a semi-automatic gearbox that year, and I think Williams didn't use it till the 90s. So, yeah, McLaren did not install a semi-automatic gearbox till 1993, and it shows you just how different and much more difficult cars were back then to drive. And obviously they didn't have power steering as well like they do today for more grip.
Right, Charlie, we're just having a look at the Mercedes W12 of Valtteri Bottas's, Charlie. It's up on the jacks, and we're hearing that they might have a hydraulic issue prior to qualifying that they identified in the FP3 session earlier today, Charlie. They're very quickly trying to get that Mercedes piece back together. I think they've almost fixed it because they're putting the front wing out, Charlie. But not the ideal start to qualifying session for Valtteri Bottas and Mercedes.
Yeah, not the best start. I hope it's only a small issue. I mean, a hydraulic issue can be bad, I suppose, in some ways, but let's hope it's only a small fix.
It's up on the jacks at the moment, Charlie. It's still up on the jacks, so clearly it's going to be another few minutes. Comments coming in, keep them coming in. Hope you're all well. Yes, we're good. Thank you for asking. Charlie, obviously, could be a history-making day in Formula One. It could be the chance. Well, it is the chance. Lewis Hamilton can take his century, 100th. Yes, that's right. 100. 100th pole position in Formula One. It can happen today, Charlie.
It's difficult. I did put on my predictions. I think Hamilton would be on pole, but I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to get on. I mean, Mercedes weren't the quickest in FP3. I think Verstappen was just edging out, I think, Bottas or Hamilton in the Mercedes. But yeah, they're very close. To be honest with you, I'd say it's very close between Lewis Hamilton and also the Red Bull of Verstappen as well. He looked really strong in FP3.
People in the comments, do you think Lewis will get his 100th pole today? Let's face it, Charlie, it's going to happen at some point, isn't it? Whether he gets 100 poles today or whether he gets 100 poles at the end of the season, it's going to happen at some point. Today would be an extremely special day for it to be happening, obviously on the anniversary of Ayrton Senna. He was a fantastic idol for Lewis, and that would be something special if that did happen today. But let's have a look at the rest of the field, Charlie. The McLaren, it's not been as strong, but it has been stronger than it was here last year.
I think McLaren, it was like this at Imola, and then Norris came along and set an incredible, sort of a spellbinding lap. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they get on today. Another driver that we could also be looking out for is Mr. Saturday himself, George Russell, who actually done quite well on Friday with his running. I think he was in the top 10, I think, at one point.
He was, Charlie. It's P6. Right, we've got George thinks Lewis will get his 100th pole today. It's one of those, Charlie, isn't it? I think he will get it today. If I'm honest, I think he will. It seems to be though, Charlie, that starting on pole this year is the disadvantage because no one who started on pole this year has actually won the race yet.
No, they haven't. I think Verstappen won. Well, Verstappen won in Imola from third on the grid, and obviously last time out was in Bahrain. I think Hamilton won. I think from starting in the top 5, or second, I think. So it's going to be interesting. I think as well as that, the dirty side of the grid you don't get away well. There's a lot of wheel spin. The clean side always get the better launch. So it's going to be interesting to see how this weekend goes on. And also, just to confirm as well, Portimao, second DRS zone added out of 4 into Torre VIP as well.
Charlie, it's going to be... It's described as a roller coaster. It is like a roller coaster. The DRS, Charlie, coming out of a blind corner, shall we say, as you plunge down the hill and then into the heavy braking zone of turn 5. You then take the flick up the right of turn 6 before you plunge up the hill and down the hill again for turn 8 and turn 9. Side-by-side action through there, Charlie, could bring some brilliant entertainment tomorrow afternoon.
I think he could as well. I think that second DRS zone, as I mentioned a minute ago, down into Torre VIP, I think that could really help boost the overtaking. I know that you again, it's dirty air, you can get through turn 3, but I think if drivers get a good exit there, I think it could be a great additional overtaking spot on this circuit.
Right, Charlie, good news for Valtteri Bottas fans. His car is now off the jacks, and well, I think it's off the jacks anyway. It might have been an old picture we were seeing from FP3, but he was in the car. They didn't seem to report any problems in FP3 this morning. But they said they must have identified something there, Charlie. But But going back to the DRS, Charlie, it was after last year's race. A lot before last year's race, a lot of people were saying why it's going to be boring. There's going to be no options for overtaking. And I just say we had 58 overtakes, at turn 1 alone last year. Overtaking certainly not hard here.
No, I mean the thing is, I think a lot of people boycott this circuit. I think the Algarve, Autodrome Internazionale de Algarve, it's a circuit that it's a different type of circuit to like what F1 are used to. It's a circuit that I think will favour overtaking one, because the thing is, turn 1 you go downhill. The slipstream here must be very strong. The DRS here must be one of the strongest of the year, because you're going through a very fast right-hander.
That DRS zone, Charlie, has been reduced at turn 1 because what we were finding last year is that some of the cars had already overtaken their opponents before they got to the corner. That's now been reduced this year, and hopefully we will be able to get some action side by side through turn 1 a bit more.
I think we should be able to. I think it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, I think the pit lane might have been tweaked slightly on the exit.
The pit lane exit has been tweaked slightly, so it doesn't feed straight into turn 1. It's been brought forward effectively. This year, Charlie's just freezing there. He's back now. A lot of people asking why aren't we using the pit lane exit that MotoGP used. That is because that piece of tarmac isn't wide enough for Formula 1 cars, and ultimately they have 2 wheels on the grass. Going off the pit lane exit, we can't have that. That pit lane exit, Charlie, that feeds out after turn 3 was specifically designed for MotoGP.
It was. I mean, MotoGP have raced here a couple of weeks ago, obviously, and there was a horrible crash today for the MotoGP for one of the drivers. I think it was someone Marquez. I forgot his name again.
I think it was Marc Marquez, Charlie.
Marc Marquez, yes, from Spain. Yeah, he suffered a quite a serious accident in MotoGP. I just want to say that he's okay. He's been to the hospital and had his checks up. But back to Portimao, I think
I'm not a MotoGP fan, but he has just come back from a horrific injury that he suffered at one of their races last year.
Yeah, quite incredible how he's come back from that.
Just trying to get up. Yeah, it was Marc Marquez, Charlie, had a horrible accident at Jerez. What do you think about Jerez, Charlie? Is it an option for Formula 1, or do you not really like it?
I don't. I think Jerez is a circuit that I'm not a massive fan of it, actually. I mean, it looks quite interesting. I just think its overtaking is going to be difficult. I mean, you've got the third bit straight.
We had when we F1, not F1, F2 and F3, Charlie, did a standalone event there one year. I personally think it's more designed for motorbikes, and it's not. Yeah. It doesn't suit Formula 1 cars. But Charlie, what do you think? Like, we've got Turkey coming back this year. Now Canada has unfortunately been cancelled, which is a shame because we were super excited to go to Canada in June. We're going to be going to Turkey instead now. Provided some good racing in Turkey last year, Charlie. Slight worry is we're going in the heat of the summer. Turkey tends to have very warm summers. It could be a very hot race for our drivers.
It's going to be probably be one of those races where it's going to be very difficult for the drivers to sort of keep themselves together. And I mean, look, the thing is though, whatever the weather is, Istanbul Park is a fantastic circuit. It's much better than Jerez, much better. I actually prefer it to Canada. I'm not joking with you. I actually prefer.
I think Istanbul. With Canada, Charlie, there's so much history at circuits you will now, isn't there?
There is, but also as well, Canada's got loads of chicanes, and I just feel like the chicanes kill the racing a little bit. I just feel like with Turkey, it's a much more classic track. It's got some fantastic corners. Turn 8 is a fantastic corner, and I think just in general, I thought the racing last year was really good at Istanbul.
It was always a reserve track, Charlie. It has been reserve track for quite a long time. One of Formula 1's reserve tracks. We haven't normally had to use our reserve tracks, have we? Apart from 2020 and 2021, we've had to call our reserve tracks into action.
Yeah, they haven't been to India or Korea for ages, so I'm sure they're not going to be used anytime soon. But yeah, I think we're staying in Europe. I think.
Looking at the state of India, Charlie, I don't think we'll be going there anytime soon as well.
No, they
And
haven't raced there
honestly,
since 2013.
if you are from India, we send all of our best wishes to you, because we can only imagine what it must be like out there. You know, when you're seeing 2,000 people die a day, it's horrific.
There was over 400,000 cases as well, and I think over 3,000 deaths. I mean, for Formula, there are some Formula One sort of owners. I think like some of the teams might have Indian friends and for relatives. I think obviously Force India, they used to have an Indian team principal. I think in Vijay Mallya. So I'm sort of it must be very difficult for him and his family at the moment in India.
I think the Aston Martin team, Charlie, does actually have a few Indian people involved. So I can imagine for them it's horrible, and Otmar Saab having to deal with those, or having to make sure that those people can't be very nice for him either. But let's turn our focus to Portimao. McLaren are experiencing an electronic issue, Charlie, on Lando Norris's car, but Carlos Sainz's car not Daniel Ricciardo, sorry, looks very much put together and ready to go. We're just having a walk down the pit lane now, quite a long pit lane at Portimao, Charlie. And unfortunately, it is a behind closed doors event this weekend. Portugal is very much still in the midst of a lockdown, or a releasing of lockdown, should we say. But Charlie, it's perfect conditions for qualifying. The sun is shining. The wind is a bit high though. That could cause the drivers some problems, especially going into that turn 13, 14 section, Charlie, at the top of the hill.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. I think there's a bit of I'm not sure there's a headwind or a tailwind somewhere, but it's going to be difficult to keep the cars sort of. It's difficult because those corners as well, Jack, you mentioned, you can't see the half of the apexes up there. So it's very difficult to sort of keep the car pointed straight. So there could be some instability issues up at those corners.
Okay, Charlie, so we're hearing that from Mercedes, we've just heard this news. They've had to take the gearbox off of Valtteri Bottas's car. So it's going to be touch and go whether he makes qualifying this afternoon, Charlie. That would be a disaster for Valtteri Bottas if he has to miss qualifying.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many components they've changed over the last couple of weeks in that car. Obviously, after he crashed out at Imola with George Russell, but yes, Valtteri Bottas looks like at the moment his Mercedes is apart and has to have some gearbox changes. And we'll keep you updated.
We are watching them. We will read them out. We will get to them eventually. Maybe if there's a red flag or something, or disruption to qualifying. We had plenty of red flags last weekend at Imola, Charlie. We haven't had any yet this weekend at Portimao, but qualifying is coming next. So expect plenty of drama.
Could be interesting.
Just looking at the practice highlight, when they rise over that hill, Charlie, after turn 7 and turn 8, they plunge down it towards turn 9. It must be. It's a track like no other, isn't it?
It's a really fast track, isn't it?
And it's also one of those tracks that if the drivers go off, they're punished. They're in a barrier, or they're in the gravel, or that. It's a punishing circuit, and those are the circuits that we like to see, aren't they? Not these Paul Ricard circuits where the drivers go off, all of a sudden they're back on and they're away again. Paul Ricard receives a lot of criticism, Charlie, and a lot of criticism. Is it actually the track layout, or is it the fact it's all tarmac runoff area? If they made it grass and gravel, would it actually make it a better circuit?
I'm not sure, Jack. I mean, Paul Ricard for me is an interesting circuit. I know it's used a lot by GT racing, like Blancpain and that, but I think it's a difficult one. I mean, Paul Ricard, I should see there should be more runoff there. I think the circuit has got potential because it's got 2 long straights, but I just think the runoff could really do with changing.
All right, Charlie. If you had the option would you move this year's French Grand Prix to Magny-Cours?
Yes.
You would?
I would move it because
Right.
I think Magny-Cours is a classic.
It's
Absolute
time.
classic track.
It's time for qualifying, Charlie, for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Hello, everyone. Welcome along to Portimao. We're at the Algarve. We're at the Autodromo de Internacional de Algarve for qualifying for the 2021 Heineken Gran Premio de Portugal. It's the second year in a row we're racing at Portimao. We had a cracking 2020 event last year. Portimao then is situated on the southern tip of the Algarve and is one of Europe's most popular tourist destinations. The Algarve International Circuit Portimao is a sustainable venue with 25,000 solar panels powering the circuit, saving 5,100 tons of electricity and oil. We're 4.653 miles, 2.891 kilometers, a top speed of 341 kilometers now, 212 miles an hour. 15 turns to race that record, 118.7 set by Lewis Hamilton in 2020. Let's have a look at turn one. Stroll v Norris in 2020. That didn't end very well. Lando, not Stroll, very much ending his race. Down towards turn 5, we had a great battle with Sainz and Bottas on lap 2 of last year's Portuguese Grand Prix. Sainz going down the inside of the Mercedes at turn 5. And then turn 13, Raikkonen and Albon. Raikkonen sending it up the inside and just about getting it stopped before he hits the back of the Ferrari. Same tyre compounds then that we had at Imola. The C3 is the softest, the C2 is the medium, and the C1 is the hard compound tyre this weekend. I'm joined by Charlie Tolhurst. We're set for a great qualifying session. Charlie, we can't quite hear you at the moment.
Oh, sorry, my mic was muted. Hello, everyone. Great. We're all set for a great qualifying action. And just whilst I'm here, I am picking my F1 fantasy team ready for qualifying and for the weekend.
So, Charlie, it's quite a cold day at the Algarve, 18 degrees and partly cloudy. We've got 13.6 kilometers now at wind blowing northwest. Is that going to cause some problems, Charlie, especially going up into that turn 13 section of the track? Are we going to see a lot of spins?
Possibly. That would be a very interesting option, I think. We're going to see any spins up there.
Right. We are 2 minutes to go. The trees, Charlie, really showing how it is windy. Drivers' Championship, Lewis Hamilton leading the championship on 44 points, a point ahead. And Max Verstappen, the first driver, Charlie, in Formula One history to be leading a world championship on the same number of points as their car number.
Wow, that's very interesting. I wonder how that's going to get on.
It could be a history-making afternoon at Portugal. Hamilton is going for his 100th pole in Formula One. Verstappen, Charlie, has every bit of power that he needs to stop him.
Yeah.
And we're just looking at Verstappen's car now as they're putting the front wing on and they look to be getting those tyres ready. You'll be pleased that's Lewis Hamilton's car. And as it's just saying on our screen, aiming to become the first F1 driver to secure 100 pole positions in the sport. The session countdown under a minute to go then. And then we'll be good to go at qualifying. Sergio Perez in the Red Bull. He looks all set and ready. It's his first time racing at Portimao in the Red Bull. His tyres are not on his car though yet, Charlie. They look pretty relaxed. And Valtteri Bottas, Charlie, you'll be pleased to hear, has made it for qualifying.
Yay. Well done, Mercedes, for getting their car ready. And especially Bottas's W12. Ready for qualifying.
Bottas, Charlie, has now fouled, has now not missed out on Q3 in the last 115 races. And a lovely tribute for the Haas, Charlie. Martin Shepherd, who they very, very sadly lost one of their teammates just a couple of weeks ago. But right, here we go. 5 seconds. And we are about to get the green light at the end of the pit lane, and qualifying for the Portuguese Grand Prix is go. Charles Leclerc and both Ferraris head out. Both Hasses make it their way out straight away, Charlie. The McLaren, both McLarens coming out. They're all coming out, Charlie, at the start of this qualifying session.
Yep, I'll run through my prediction very quickly for the top 5. That will be, I've put Lewis Hamilton on pole for Mercedes, Max Verstappen second for Red Bull, Valtteri Bottas third for Mercedes, Sergio Perez fourth for Red Bull, and fifth, Charles Leclerc of Ferrari. That's my top 5.
Very interesting top 5, Charlie. We've just seen a lovely helicopter shot of the circuit from above. As the cars make their way round on the outlap, it's the Hasses that are leading. Then it's a Ferrari sandwich from McLaren, Charlie. They've got one of their drivers ahead of both of the Ferraris, and one of them trading. I think it's Lando Norris who's leading the Ferraris. I wonder if he's going to try and let them through, Charlie.
Potentially. Be interesting to see.
Do you think, Charlie, we'll see a double warm-up lap here because of the lap being relatively short for Formula One standards?
Could see a double warm-up lap, but I mean, I'm not sure. It depends if they've got the track space to get enough laps in.
You're right, Charlie. They're coming out on the medium compound tyre on the McLarens of Lando Norris. Interesting, Charlie. They're going to try and get through to Q2 on their medium tyres. Right, here we go then. Lando isn't going for the double warm-up lap. He slingshots it out turn 15, rises up the hill, and they're going for it straight away, Charlie. They're not going for the double warm-up lap as yet on the McLarens. I think the Hasses might be. Lando Norris nicely navigates. He's going to get held up by Mick Schumacher, though, who nicely actually gets out of the way at turn 3. Right, as he rises up the hill through the DRS zone, he's going to plunge down it towards turn 5. It's 24-4 for Lando. Now he's going to go through the flick of turn 6 and on to turn 7 he goes as he very flat out turn 7, very blind as he goes into turn 8. He's now going to rise over the hill and plunge down towards turn 9. Then the roller coaster section of Portimao and into turn 10. He takes a wide entrance into turn 10, hugs the exit curve for turn 11, back down the hill, and he's going to rise up it for turn 12, and then he's going to go along for turn 13 and 14. He's backed out of it, I think, Charlie. Backed out of the lap. I wonder if there was a mistake at turn 13.
Maybe he must have. Nikita Mazepin's just popped up on our timing sheets with a 27.4 for Haas.
Yeah, he just gets held up by Mick Schumacher, Charlie, at turn 3.
Yeah, Norris has actually crossed the line and set a lap, but I'm sure many people will be going even faster than that.
Right, Lando Norris has just gone quickest, Charlie, but he did back out of his lap, so... Oh dear,
I think Charles Leclerc and Daniel Ricciardo may have as well, actually, because their times are a long way off as well.
I think they all backed out, Charlie.
They must have done. They must have got traffic.
Stroll's backed out of his lap. They're all backing out of their laps. So Sebastian Vettel backed out. Lance Stroll hasn't backed out.
No, 22. Yeah, he's gone for 1:22.7.
Lance Stroll goes quickest as you, right, Charlie?
George Russell, wow, he smashed that time, hasn't he?
He rather has, Charlie. 2 seconds quicker than the Aston
just
Martin.
Displaced. The times are coming in now. Giovinazzi's gone to provisional pole at the moment.
The Red Bulls are out. And Giovinazzi's gone quicker. Vettel's gone quicker than Lance Stroll. Raikkonen goes second fastest. It's the Alfa Romeo 1-2 at the moment. But Lando Norris is on a charge as well as he comes through the turn. Is that turn 14? Yes, it is. He's going to plunge through turn 15. And he's going to go up the hill.
Oh, no, only 0.04 of a second quicker than Antonio Giovinazzi. Wow.
Yes, Charlie, you're right. Only 0.04 of a second quicker.
That's crazy.
But Sainz is on the flyer as well. Where Sainz, he's coming through turn 15 now.
Third for Ricardo.
And as he rises up the hill, where does Sainz go?
Sainz goes quickest, 4/10 clear. That's on the soft tyre.
Sainz goes quickest. Ricardo goes fourth. Almost half a second quicker is Carlos Sainz, Charlie, in the Ferrari. Right, it's like Pierre Gasly now coming up towards the top of the circuit. Oh, almost loses it at turn 11, and he's going towards turn 12. Keeps it nicely within the red and white curbs, and he's going to hug the inside at turn 13 and turn 14. It goes slightly wide, but he'll get away with that. Through turn 15, he's now going to rise.
Second for Gasly, still 4/10 off though.
Second fastest, as you say, Charlie, for Pierre Gasly. Yuki Tsunoda now, he's coming to the end of his lap. Tsunoda only 8th fastest. You're right, Charlie.
He's probably going to have to go again, I reckon, Tsunoda, in the AlphaTauri.
Right, Hamilton, Bottas, Perez, Alonso, Ocon have still not set any times. Charles Leclerc is on a lap. He's right, here we go. Verstappen now on a lap. This is the true pace, Charlie. And he's on a flyer, Charlie. It's Max Verstappen. He's already 2 seconds up on Carlos Sainz. But
yeah, this probably will be the Leclerc's slower than his teammate by 4/10 of a second. Wow.
Yeah, he is.
And that's on the same tyre.
Max Verstappen, what can Verstappen do? Verstappen towards the line now. Only second fastest.
Only third for Verstappen. Wow. Bottas is slower than Sainz.
Only second fastest for Bottas as well. What can Lewis Hamilton do?
They must have made a mistake somewhere in the lap because they're slower than Sainz.
Where's Hamilton, Charlie? I can't see him at the moment. He's all the way down in 17th. He's poor Lewis Hamilton. It says he'll
probably get the lap in. He'll probably do a very good lap, I reckon.
I think he's doing a double warm-up lap, Charlie.
He must be.
But Bottas
Stroll's up to 6. Alonso goes full fastest on the softs.
And Stroll goes 6th. Yeah, Alonso 4th, Charlie, you're right. But Bottas only 8 milliseconds, Charlie, off that first position. So it wasn't too far.
No, it wasn't too far. Still could see a bit more from them.
Raikkonen goes 12th. Ocon goes 5th. Hamilton was 8 seconds down.
Norris 6th fastest. He's just gone slightly quicker, but still 4/10.
Right, let's watch this for Sebastian Vettel. What happens? He's behind his teammate. Oh, the 2 Aston Martins nearly come together, Charlie. Let's see what happens.
Vettel may be on the radio.
He goes wide at turn 1, Charlie. Hamilton's gone wide at turn 1. Hamilton's having to go again. He's done the purple.
He's just probably blown up a set of tyres here, I reckon.
Sainz has gone even faster, Charlie, as Hamilton goes fastest in the second sector and rises up the hill. Hamilton towards the line goes top.
Perez third, but 6/10 off. And Hamilton's just gone quickest by half a second.
Half a second, Charlie. That was a stellar lap. And it wasn't the greatest lap, was it? From Lewis Hamilton.
No, he'll probably be kicking himself, I reckon, after that. But I'm sure we'll see more of Lewis Hamilton later in the session.
He was fastest in Sector 2 and fastest in Sector 3. And at the moment, he's heading the timesheets.
Yeah, I mean, even Hamilton's quickest, I'm not discounting the fact that Mercedes might want to improve on that time. Or that should be enough for him to get through to Q2 and they don't want to waste a set of tyres.
That should be enough for him to get through to Q2, I think, Charlie. Bottas in 4th, Verstappen in 5th, Perez in 3rd.
Sainz, what? Wow. I think Hamilton's lap been deleted
Charlie.
For track limits. Oh,
Hamilton's time's been deleted for track limits.
That's at turn 1, I think. He must have gone wide there. That's a shocker.
Right, he's Valtteri Bottas. They're going for more than one flying lap, Charlie.
Bottas has just gone quicker. Only 10th quicker than Sainz.
Bottas goes first. You're right, Charlie. We're about 2 seconds off the fastest time
Mm.
in Q1 last year. Hamilton's doing another lap. And there's a yellow flag in sector 3, Charlie. What's happened? Oh, Hamilton's locked up, Charlie, and gone deep. What's happened in sector 3? Because something's gone wrong. There's a long yellow flag. I wonder if someone's had an accident, Charlie. No, now the track's clear. I wonder someone must have had a spin.
Russell's team radio.
Hamilton's down, Charlie. He might have to go again, the Mercedes driver.
Hamilton may have to.
I'm trying to work out who it was that must have gone off at the final corner. I'm pretty sure Hamilton went wide at turn 1 again. So I wonder if this lap time's going to get deleted. He hasn't gone through turn 2. He's 7/10 of a second down, Charlie, on Bottas, on Russell.
Russell,
sector 2. He's going through sector 3 now.
He should hopefully claw some time back, but what's going on for Mercedes today? Unless he can secure something.
He's on the soft compound tyre, right? He's coming towards
Hamilton
the line
only
now.
5th fastest. Wow. Only 5th for the 7-time world
that
champion.
will be enough, Charlie.
That should be enough, though.
That should be enough. Like, let's see what he just locks up, Charlie, at turn 3. That's the issue.
Probably
Just
cost him.
locks up at turn 3. I think it would be touch and go, Charlie, whether he makes it. They might have to send him out as a bit of a precaution.
Yeah.
He also gets a slight bit of oversteer. Yellow flag, sector 1 again. What's happened? And it's Sergio Perez has gone into the gravel and he's managed to get it go. Oh, no, he's dumped it all over the track as well. It's an unusual place to spin. Sergio Perez has just dropped it in. Oh, no, he's putting gravel all over the circuit, Charlie, as he's coming out of the gravel. I wonder if we might need a red flag to get some of that gravel clear. Right, let's see how he does it. Through turn 4, he just gets a dollop of oversteer on the exit and he's sent spinning and drifting into the gravel. Thankfully, he doesn't beat himself. I'm slightly worried, Charlie, that the gravel that's been brought onto the circuits is going to cause some punctures. And he goes back. He's rear-ended it into the gravel track.
We have 5 minutes to go of Q1.
We do.
It's difficult to whether they want a red flag.
It is as he comes back on. He just dumps it, and Hamilton's been stopped on the Weybridge, Charlie, to add to his woes at the moment. Mick Schumacher the wind has changed direction, so it's now blowing that southeast, is it? I think it's blowing, or southwest. And Schumacher has backed out of his lap as well.
Yuki Tsunoda's going to have to go again, and so is George Russell in the Williams.
Yeah.
Both in the elimination zone. Driver at risk at the moment is Kimi Räikkönen for Alfa Romeo.
He is, and Yuki Tsunoda is coming back out onto the track. He's coming out in the gap, like Max Verstappen. Let's have a look at his lap recap. Then, as he comes out of the final corner, team radio. And Verstappen complaining, Charlie, that there's no straight line speed in that Red Bull. Right, Schumacher going again. He's only 4th fastest, is Max Verstappen, Charlie. That's slightly worrying if you're a Red Bull fan, isn't it?
Little bit. I mean, I think Red Bull could have some issues. Maybe related engine woes or something. I'm not sure. This is a much This is a technical lap, this one. I mean, I don't know. It's difficult up the hill into turn
Right.
one.
So I've been told the cut-off time, Charlie, is exactly what Hamilton has done. I think Mercedes will send Hamilton back out as a precaution. Here, just
Maybe.
to make sure. Because
They've got
he is
Hamilton's only got 2 minutes to get out as well.
he's out, Charlie. He's on an out lap.
He's gone out. Hamilton back out for Mercedes.
Ricardo's only 14th, but he's on a lap. And as he's going to flick his way into turn 13 and 14, where the penalty lane is. He goes slightly wide on the exit of 14, and he's going through 15.
Quickest for Ricardo.
By, and he is 8th fastest.
Ninth now. Leclerc's gone into 6th.
You're right, Charlie. It could be touch and go from Daniel Ricciardo, couldn't it? Whether he makes it to Q2.
Hamilton only 6th quickest.
Yeah,
Latifi goes up. Latifi's out of qualifying.
Fourth fastest.
Latifi's out of qualifying.
Hamilton's still on an out lap, but he's about to come over the line very soon. What's Latifi doing?
Vettel goes 5th fastest for Aston Martin. Not a bad effort from him.
You're right. Norris has gone quickest, Charlie. Lando Norris in the McLaren goes quickest with a 1:18.7, and Yuki Tsunoda's going through turn 9 and up towards turn 10. No, he's given up on his lap as well. No, I think he's still going, Charlie.
He's still going.
Touch brake a bit early at turn 10. I can't work out, Charlie, whether he's just going slow. No, he has backed out of his lap.
Oh, no. He should get another lap in if he's lucky.
He should, Charlie. Now he's going again. There's 1:15 left on the clock. Hamilton's on the flying lap. Raikkonen's on the flying lap. The clouds are coming over, though, Charlie. On the south side of the the north side of the circuit. Sorry.
Giovinazzi up to 6th.
Yep, Giovinazzi up to 6th. Raikkonen coming through turn 15 now is going to be only 11th fastest. For Kimi Raikkonen.
Ricardo's in trouble now. 12th for him.
Stroll's driver at risk. Hamilton's only 8th fastest. Mazepin's and the Alpine cuts Mazepin in turn 14. I don't think the Russian driver will be very happy with that. Schumacher's done a personal best in sector 1. I'm interested to see what Lewis Hamilton does, Charlie.
Hamilton's gone up to 2nd.
You're right, Charlie. Hamilton goes 2nd fastest with a 1:18.
But he's slower than Norris in the McLaren, though.
George Russell, who's 19th fastest,
goes to 12th. He's gone to 12th.
He's gone 12th fastest. Is that enough?
At the moment.
Gasly's now
Bottas has gone quickest.
As the checkered flag comes out.
Gasly's gone up to 8th.
Bottas has gone fastest.
Tsunoda's up to 11th.
Of a second.
Ricardo's now driver at risk.
Tsunoda 11th. Ricardo's driver at risk. Schumacher's 19th fastest. Yuki Tsunoda's at 11th. Who's going to come over the line next? Right, it's the Alpine of Esteban Ocon is in 16th fastest, but he's done a personal best in sector 1. He's going, where is he now? He's going through turn 9 and up to turn 10. He's half a second up on the time he needs to be as he crosses the line for sector 2. Through turn 13 and 14, Ricciardo only 15th fastest, Charlie. Ocon comes towards the line.
Daniel Ricciardo is out of qualifying.
Ricciardo's
gone out. He's in 16th.
Daniel Ricciardo's out in Q1. Ocon goes 4th fastest. Stroll is also out of qualifying.
Stroll's for Aston Martin.
But in the McLaren, Daniel Ricciardo is knocked out of qualifying at the first time of asking.
That is a shock for everyone. Daniel Ricciardo in the McLaren out of Q1. What an awful result. And Lance Stroll as well for Aston Martin, another shocker out in 17th. They must be kicking themselves right now.
Right, Charlie. So Lando Norris was 2nd fastest with his teammate. only 16th. What happened to Daniel
no.
Ricciardo? Right, so out in qualifying, the first time of asking, it was Daniel Ricciardo, the two Hasses, and Lance Stroll. That
And
was a
Latifi.
shock, wasn't it, Charlie? Seeing the McLaren of Daniel Ricciardo out.
It is. I mean, George Russell was just gone through by a mere tenth of a second
He
into
has.
Q2.
I'm just seeing what the updates are. There isn't many. The shock though is that McLaren's out.
And Verstappen only 11th as well on the
I know,
soft
Charlie.
tyre. Red Bull was struggling. Perez is
A
6th, so Red Bull was struggling.
bizarre opening to qualifying. At
It
Portimao.
isn't, yeah, it is, Jack. And I tell you what, Red Bull was struggling this weekend. I don't understand this. Norris has put in a stunning lap to be second after all that.
Whatever happens, Charlie, at the end of this session, I think the grid's going to be quite mixed up.
Mm.
And it could
certainly.
It could make for a fascinating race tomorrow afternoon.
It could make a fascinating race. I'm sure we'll all be
On the edge of our seats as usual.
Probably. That would be great.
But yeah, so Q2 will get underway in a few minutes' time. They're just going to clear the gravel, Charlie, that Sergio Perez dumped on the circuit. That's not much of a surprise, is it?
No.
So that gravel will be cleared and put back in its position. That shouldn't take them too long, though. They just get the brooms out and brush that off. The marshals at Portimao doing a brilliant job as usual. So, Valtteri Bottas topped the session with Lando Norris second, Lewis Hamilton in third, going for his 100th pole in Formula One. He started the quest already. He did go fastest, Charlie, but he had his lap time deleted for track limits at turn 1.
Yeah, he must have gone all four wheels off the track by the millimetres of margins. And I think the FIA this weekend are going to start stamping up on track limits at a few of the corners. I think turn 4 is another area as well where there's track limits.
Well, they did at Imola, didn't they, Charlie? They really put no mark, the FIA, on track limits.
Big one, isn't it? I mean, track limits in Formula One, if you go all four wheels off the track, you will get penalised. It's some drivers are millimetres.
Radio.
Here's the radio from Daniel Ricciardo.
Unfortunately, we can't repeat what he said, Charlie. Let's have a look at Daniel Ricciardo's lap now. Into turn 1.
We can't repeat the radio, sadly.
No, we can't. Does he get held up by the Haas or the Alfa Romeo that's in front of him? As he goes up turn 4 and keeps it within the track limits, the car gets nicely out of the way on the left-hand side. As he goes into turn 5, does he brake a bit too late? He's going through turn 6. All looks good up to now. Through turn 7, on to turn 8. He must have had a massive mistake, Charlie, at turn 9, turn 10, or the rest of the lap. Turn 9's good. Turn 10 and turn 11, it looks all right, Charlie. Through turn 12. And the final few... Oh, he locks up, Charlie. He locks up at turn 12. That's exactly what happened. He locks up at turn 12.
That's just cost him a place in Q2. That's the biggest shock of the season, I think, this year. Ricciardo out in Q1 for McLaren.
And Charlie, if you look up at turn 12, turn 13 or turn 14, that compromises you with the whole run to the line because it's flat out from there on to the line, isn't it?
It is flat out, Jack. All the way up from the exit of 12 to the top of the hill, it's flat out. So you've got to, if you lock up there, you're just going to get so much understeer and it's going to cause the car to be compromised up for the run up the hill to the line.
And we're hearing words from Christian Horner, Charlie, saying the drivers are reporting it is very blowy at the top of that hill at the turn 13, 14 section.
That could be... That's going to be interesting how that's going to get on.
And Christian Horner saying, Charlie, the wind is quite bad. That there is risk that radiators could potentially be broken. That's how windy it is at Portimao this afternoon. Potential that bodywork could be broken.
Yeah.
So Sergio had a bit of a mistake, didn't he, going into turn 4. He managed to get outright win. Now green for Q2.
Use George Russell's team radio quickly. I'm going to play that for you.
Well, I did not deserve that. Good one. But we better enter to make for a race. More fuel is not safe. Fuel is on the limit. It's going to be close.
So Hamilton's reporting there's lots of traffic, Charlie. They're all coming out at once, literally, one after the other. I think we're going to get some drivers getting in the way of each other because they're Lando Norris, who's in the middle of this chain's backing them all up. We've put the wrong thing up. There you go. And Hamilton's trying to give himself a gap, Charlie. He's backing them all up. Oh, he gets a bit of oversteer on the medium compound tyres on his outlap, Charlie.
A bit tail happy. He's Lewis Hamilton.
So the wind is going east now, so it has switched direction again at Portimao. It's ever changing the wind this afternoon and providing challenges for the drivers, isn't it, Charlie?
It is, Jack, isn't it? Certainly changing direction of it, of all of the cars. It's very interesting.
So, right, Sainz has started his lap. Everyone is out apart from Ocon, Vettel and Alonso. Everyone else is out on the track. So it's a very, very busy Portimao at the moment. Lando Norris has started his final. It's slightly worrying, Charlie, that the clouds coming in from the back of the track. I wonder if the teams want to get their laps done quickly, just in case the showers, the water does arrive on the circuit. It shouldn't do. There is no prediction for rain, but they just don't want to take that risk, do they? They're going to get caught out by the weather.
They will. It's going to be a make or break weekend now for any of the teams.
It is. So there's still no times on the board. If you remember last year, Charlie, on the opening lap, we did get a little bit of sprinkling of rain, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I remember that.
So let's see. And the Sainz looks to be doing a stellar lap, Charlie, as he comes.
That's on the mediums.
On the mediums, it's a 118, 119, or it's a bit down, 119.5 at the end. I think Bottas might be going for double warm-up here. Verstappen is purple first sector as the Aston Martin gets nicely out of the way for the Red Bull driver.
Bottas backed out of his lap. Leclerc's gone fastest.
And we're seeing a wonderful helicopter shot, Charlie, as Verstappen plunges down the turn 9 section and up towards turn 10 and 11, I think that is. Turn 10 he's going through now. Through turn 11 onto the turn 12 section. Now he's going to take the inside line, is Verstappen, and take the wide exit at turn 13 and 14. He's going through turn 15 now. I have a feeling
Verstappen quickest by 0.3 of a second.
You're right, Charlie. Verstappen has gone quickest. That's what we were waiting to see from the Red Bull. Let's see what Lewis Hamilton can do. Oh, he almost goes into the back of the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. There's Valtteri Bottas, sorry. Hamilton is flying, Charlie. He's done 2 purple sectors. This could
well be the lap here.
It could be, right. Bottas
has gone quickest. 6 tenths. Wow.
Goes quickest by 6 tenths, Charlie.
Norris has gone
22.6.
Wow. That's on the top. And Hamilton on pole by 4/10 on the mediums. Good luck from him.
Provisional pole, Charlie, by 4/10 on the medium compound tyre, should we say, as well.
Norris on the softs.
You're right, Charlie. What a lap from Lewis Hamilton there.
Yeah. Is what a McLaren thinking about starting tomorrow's race on the softs? That's going to be the big question.
They might be, Charlie.
And Red Bull only 4th, Verstappen only 5th, 1 second off the pace. Wow.
You're right, Charlie.
Red Bull struggling.
Mercedes said they bought an upgrade. Well, if they bought an upgrade like this, it's certainly helping them.
Vettel goes ahead of Verstappen on the
All
soft.
3 sectors belong to car number 44 at the moment, Charlie.
Yeah.
The track conditions look to be improving.
Ahead of Perez.
Sonoda's 10th. The track conditions look to be improving as we go on. Ocon goes 4th. The Red Bulls, Charlie, going to have to go again here.
They're going to have to.
6th.
What is going on with Red Bull's pace this weekend?
And right, the Leclerc's 9th. He's going again on his medium tyres.
Maybe this. Well, Hamilton's lap on the mediums was quite extraordinary.
It was, Charlie. I don't think he broke track limits, so it was a pure lap. The wind, Charlie, is really bad through that turn 13, 14 section now. As it's a crosswind all the way through to turn 15 on the exit where it turns to a headwind down the straight. Leclerc stays 8th fastest. That's not good for the Ferrari, is it, Charlie? 8th fastest.
No. And Sainz.
Only 13th.
13th. Oh, dear. Ferrari are going to have to go again.
Verstappen's going again, Charlie, but it's only 2 personal bests for Red Bull. I don't know how far he is down on Lewis Hamilton's lap at the moment. He's a couple of tenths off, Charlie, at the moment as he comes.
Only Verstappen, only 5th.
Only 5th, Charlie. What is going on with Red Bull?
They're struggling. Red Bull are struggling for pace.
They're 6 tenths off, Charlie, the Mercedes.
Wow, that's interesting.
Nearly 7 tenths. What on earth is going on? They're saying that he's 8 tenths clear of the cut-off time. I think it's dodgy, Charlie. I really do think it's dodgy.
This is a big move. This is a big moment.
Is it the medium tyres not working for the Red Bull on the 1 lap run?
Well, Hamilton on the mediums has worked magically for him. He's fastest on the 17.9, which is the fastest time of the weekend so far.
That's the fastest lap of this qualifying session. That's faster than the softs.
Yeah, I mean, Hamilton has just turned these around.
You have to use the softs in Q3, don't you?
Yeah.
Right, Perez is coming towards the line, and he's gonna stay 6th fastest. Is what he's gonna do, Charlie. Is Sergio Perez. The Red Bull's having a torrid Q2.
Red Bull may have to go for the soft.
Whether they're sandbagging or whether they are actually this is their true pace.
Is Red Bull gambling to go through on the mediums here?
But Charlie, you think this is Q2? They're showing their raw pace now, surely.
Yeah.
I think this is Red Bull's true pace.
This weekend, I reckon.
But obviously, there's still a long way to go, isn't there?
There's still just over 5 minutes to go of this qualifying
session. Just over 6 minutes after this Q2 session. And then we will be on to Q3. And that's when it's going to get, the times will hot up and it will get spicy at the front of the grid. And we will get the grid set for tomorrow's Portuguese Grand Prix. Vettel's half a second to the cut-off time, or what is the predicted cut-off time? Verstappen, Vettel's half a second up on the cut-off time. Nearly 7 tenths, Charlie, is the gap. 0.682 seconds is the gap between Hamilton and Verstappen in Hamilton's favour. Right, the Clerk's coming back out. The Alfa Romeo's coming back out. George Russell, Charlie, is only 49 thousandths of a second off a spot in Q3.
And he's done his run on the medium, so that isn't a bad effort from Russell. Obviously, if he wants to get to Q3, he may have to chuck a set of softs on.
He might do. Raikkonen radio. Right, Raikkonen's moaning to his race engineer, Charlie, that he has to be told whether there's a car coming up behind him that's pushing. I wonder if he's blocked someone, Charlie, on a flying lap.
Oh.
Obviously, Charlie, a blind a circuit like this, where majority of the corners are blind, if you come across a car in the middle of the road, that's quite a scary accident.
Yeah, it's not great having something there. It's just you have to be careful with something like that.
Right, the Mercedes have come back out, Charlie. I guess they're just doing an installation lap. Right, the Clerk, Sainz now on the soft tyre, and the Clerk are going again. Sainz 13th fastest, and
Leclerc is 8th.
Only 8th fastest. At the moment, but they're going towards turn 3. They've come out on the soft, Charlie. They clearly didn't like the medium tyres, did they?
No, must have struggled with them. I think Hamilton's on softs as well, I think.
People saying, let's go Hamilton in the comments. A lot of Hamilton fans, Charlie. A lot of Formula 1 fans.
Unless Mercedes will do a soft run, then back off at the end.
They might do, Charlie. A lot of F1 fans commenting, Charlie, saying they want Hamilton to get that 100th pole and break the record to become the first F1 driver on a century of pole positions. It'd be something special to see and witness this afternoon. Right, Sainz half a second up on what he needs to be to get through. Alonso is driver at risk at the moment. He hasn't come out yet, Charlie. The Aston Martin stays nicely to the right-hand side, or does it? It seemed to be edging more and more over to the left-hand side of the track. Sainz comes towards the line. Only 9th fastest for Carlos Sainz, Charlie.
Sainz is in trouble.
Giovinazzi goes at 11th. Raikkonen stays 15th fastest. They're going to have another go, though.
Yeah.
The Clerk on the medium tyre, only 8th fastest. Sorry, Charlie. More comments coming in. George saying only because I am the only one. Okay, George, do you want Hamilton to get 100th pole? Comment now if you do. We'll wait to see what he says. The Clerk's locked up, Charlie. That's what ruined his lap at turn 5. Possibly flat spotted his medium tyres as well.
That's bad for the race.
And they could potentially be his race tyres, Charlie.
Oh.
Right, Vettel is 7th fastest, Charlie, and could be making a Q3 debut for Aston Martin as well. More comments coming in. George saying, yes, he obviously does want Hamilton to get 100th pole. A lot of people are also saying they want Hamilton on pole number 100. Do you know what? Yeah, I'd love it as well. Right, Vettel towards the line. What can he do? He goes only 7th fastest. Stays where he is, the Sebastian Vettel, but he's going to have another chance to get round and go again. I think, anyway, there's 1 minute 17 left on the clock, Charlie. He's coasting round. He might need to put his foot down if he wants to get through.
Potentially.
Right, Gasly now, as he goes through turn 7 and on to turn 8. He's now going to rise up the hill and plunge down the hill towards turn 9, the roller coaster section of Portimao, towards turn 10 and 11. Goes wide. He has a very, very wide turn in at turn 10. He's going through turn 12 now, and on to turn 13 he goes. Nicely hits the apex, gets a bit of the oversteer of the crosswind there, and nice and neat through turn 13 and 14. Keeps it well within the track limits. through turn 15 he goes. Remember, Gasly, driver at risk at the moment.
Eighth
This is
position.
for Pierre Gasly. Only 8th fastest, Charlie. Pushes Carlos Sainz to drive at risk. Yuki Tsunoda is coming through turn 13 and 14. He's 14th fastest. Goes slightly wide, though, at the exit of turn 14. Tsunoda coming
Tsunoda's
through
only
turn
12th. He's out qualifying.
Tsunoda's out, Charlie, as the checkered flag for Q2 also comes out. Right. Raikkonen. What can Raikkonen do? He's next to come over the line of Antonio Giovinazzi. Is 11th fastest. Where does he go? Giovinazzi stays 11th fastest.
No improvement
Alonso,
for Antonio Giovinazzi.
Alonso goes 12th. He's out of qualifying. Raikkonen is coming towards the line now. Raikkonen stays 15th fastest.
Sainz has just gone up to 6th.
Sainz goes up to 6th.
Leclerc's up.
Leclerc is still driver at risk.
Yeah. Oh, Russell Russell 11th. Oh, only a 10th.
Only 11th, Charlie. He's missed out.
1/10
by 1/100th of a second, Charlie. He misses out on Q3, but bravo, George Russell.
What an effort for George Russell. What a great effort from him. That was a very, very unlucky for the Williams driver, but 11th position after what had been a bit of a difficult start for him, he will surely be pleased with that. That is a great effort by the Williams driver.
That will be his highest start, Charlie, in Formula One as well.
Great lap from George Russell to be 11th quickest. Great lap, heroic effort from him. And that's Williams' best qualifying probably in a long time in the sport.
Right, Charlie. So it's the man going for his 100th pole in Formula One that topped the timesheets in Q2, sorry.
Yeah.
Q3 will be coming up in about 5 minutes' time. So far, Charlie, a very interesting qualifying session.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see who gets on pole. But at the moment, I mean, Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes just dominating this qualifying session at the moment. And it's very clear that Red Bull are struggling today with their car.
Okay.
Both drivers, even on the soft compound tyres as well.
I do, Charlie. Right. I put will Lewis be able to take his 100th pole this afternoon on Instagram. 67% of you think he will be able to take his 100th pole. It's going to be only one person, Charlie, voting for no, that Hamilton won't be able to take his 100th pole. Well, as it stands, that person could be proved very, very wrong indeed, couldn't they?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they get on.
Charlie, who are you putting based on the qualifying so far? Who are you putting on pole?
I'm going to go for Hamilton. I think he's dominating this session, but it could all change, of course.
It can all change. It takes one little mistake. Right, so eliminated in Q2 was Russell, Giovinazzi, Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda, and Raikkonen. Don't forget, you can join the conversation. Tweet us, #Portuguese Grand Prix, and we get your answers in as very quickly. We're just going to read out some of those Twitter comments that we've been receiving so far. Let's see what we have. Send me. Someone said Charles managed to qualify on medium tyres. That's very important for the race. Yes, it is. Sebastian Vettel is in Q3. Yes, you're right. And there, P11, George Russell, hell of an effort. Someone's put. They're not wrong. And the Clerk wanted to go again with medium tyres. Pay a circle. It works. Yes, it very much did. Someone's got always believe in Seb. Yes, you have to. Wow, Charlie. Charlie, a lot of comments coming in. People seem to be believing, Charlie, that I'm very happy, Charlie. He's just gone for the moment. That Sebastian Vettel has made it. Daniel Ricciardo talking now.
Yeah, just disappointing, obviously, Dave. Q1's quite sad, you know, it goes so quick, and to be here, it feels like it's kind of comes out of nowhere. So yesterday was positive. Wouldn't have bet on this today, so I just gotta, figure it out and get some sleep and wake up tomorrow ready to do better.
Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo, Charlie, very understandably, very disappointed with that qualifying session. Right, if you're listening, I want you to put in the comments now what you think is going to happen in this Q3 session. Go, 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 go. I'll read them out in a few minutes' time. Get them coming in. Get them coming in. We want them. We want them. We want them. We're trying to kill time at the moment. Whilst we kill time. If you're interested in motorbikes, I've just seen that Eric Renardo has taken pole position in the Motor E Championship. So if you're interested in motorbikes, that news has literally just come through right now. Right then, here we go. Almost ready for the Q3 shootout, the most important 12-minute session of the weekend. Right, comments are coming in. Let's read them out. Hamilton will win easily. We're talking about qualifying for the moment. What do you think will happen in this session? Give me your top 10. Go. Give it. We're listening to Christian Horner now. A very ginger, talking very gingerly is Christian Horner. Maybe there is a slight concern that this is Red Bull's pace. Christian Horner commenting that it's a very, very good lap time. He's not wrong there. And Charlie Tolhurst will be back with us in a few minutes' time, I'm sure. But yeah, so far, a very interesting qualifying session. We will have to wait and see what happens in this Q3 shootout. I'm very intrigued to see. Right, Charlie, you're back. We're listening to Christian Horner now, Charlie, and it does seem that is Red Bull's pace.
Yeah, not they're struggling. Red Bull's struggling. I don't know what they're struggling with. Is it rear instability or something? I'm not sure. But the Red Bull are struggling with pace this week.
Here we go. Lando Norris coming to the end of the pit lane, and Yuki Tsunoda, I think that is Pierre Gasly, sorry, comes out. They're all coming out, and I think we have the green flag for Q3 then.
We agree.
We are green, and they're all going out straight away. Charlie, they're all coming out straight away. Right, this is where it happens then. The Mercedes is right. Both Mercedes, Lando Norris, both Ferraris, Perez and Gasly, Ocon, Verstappen and Vettel are currently still in the pit lane.
Yeah.
The rest of them have all come straight out, Charlie, onto the racetrack.
They have, and Sebastian Vettel certainly much better qualifying from him.
Charlie,
this time
lovely tribute at Portimao. Someone's painted the grass with a face of Ayrton Senna. Estoril, Charlie, has got written underneath it. What's a lovely tribute from the guys at Portimao.
Thank you guys for whoever's done that for paying tribute. Senna did actually win his first race there in 1985 in the wet. Domination for Lotus.
Can we just say it was Estoril, not Portimao?
Yeah, Estoril. That was Estoril, by the way. He won nearly a lap.
The Red Bull Max Verstappen's made its way out. All of our drivers are on the soft tyres. That is a requirement for Q3. You have to be on the top on the soft tyres. About 10.5 minutes to go, and then we will be finished for qualifying, and we'll be focusing on tomorrow's race. But it could be the biggest 10.5 minutes, and it could be a 10.5 minutes, Charlie, that rewrites the history books.
It could be. It's very much looking like it. We'll keep you informed on the details.
Right, the clerk is leading the way. Hamilton, the Mercedes, Charlie, they're all hustling around, Charlie, for track position on their flying laps.
Oh, this is very interesting. Track position is key.
Hamilton and Bottas are getting a lovely, lovely slipstream. I think they're doing double warm-up laps, Charlie, because they're going relatively slow. Yes, they are doing double warm-up laps. And the two Mercedes, Charlie, are very, very close to the rear wing of that Ferrari.
They are. They need to get enough space around this Portimao circuit. They're going to have any chance of getting a good lap in.
Right, Verstappen's going for a slingshot one lap warm-up, and he's coming towards the line now to start his flying lap. I think he's going to get held up. Surely he isn't, Max Verstappen.
Maybe he might. Potentially traffic paradise for Verstappen if he can avoid it.
Gasly goes fastest then.
That time is going to be beaten, I'm sure.
Norris goes second. Verstappen's gone wide at turn 4.
I'm sure Verstappen's lap time could be deleted if he's exceeded track limits.
Getting caught out at turn 4 with the tailwind, Charlie. I think it will get deleted because he certainly went wide. So all of these times, Charlie, that we're coming in, remember, they're doing double warm-up laps.
Ocon's gone fastest on 19.8. That's more like what?
Yeah, so Bottas, Ocon, so he must have done the slingshot one lap warm-up. Right, Hamilton's a 10th up on Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen, Charlie. But Verstappen
goes quickest.
Let's see what the benchmark lap time is.
It's an 18.2.
1:18.2. You're right, Charlie. That's a slow lap time.
That's not that. That's going to probably be beaten. Gasly goes.
It's been deleted as well, Charlie. It's just been deleted.
Norris has gone quickest.
That time, as Lando Norris goes fastest.
Leclerc's slower than Norris. Wow, Norris and Bottas has gone quickest.
Right, Bottas. It's neck and neck, Charlie, between Bottas and Hamilton.
And Hamilton goes fastest, very close, only 7 milliseconds.
Hamilton misses out, Charlie, by 7 milliseconds, as you said.
Very close. Perez goes third for Red Bull. Better lap from him.
Sainz goes third. Perez goes third. You're right now, Charlie. Yeah, Sainz briefly went third. Then Perez did. But Verstappen's that time got deleted. Vettel 9th fastest, Charlie. So pretty much last.
I don't think Vettel's going to be competitive with these guys.
He gets it. And because of that tailwind there.
It's going to be interesting. Norris 5th for McLaren. 7/10 off. But Hamilton is the one.
It must have been, Charlie, by about a centimetre that he missed the red and white curve in that.
Well, that's a shame for Max. He's got his lap time deleted for exceeding track limits at turn 4.
Yeah. But Charlie, he got his lap time deleted, but he also avoided putting his Red Bull in the gravel or worse, the barriers, didn't he?
Yeah.
So definitely worth getting your lap time deleted, and he will get a new set of tyres, and he will get another shot at a pole lap, won't he?
Yeah, he did. I think he's wasted a set of tyres there. I think Verstappen.
It won't be needed though, Charlie. Again.
No, that's a good thing. But Verstappen will be the one to watch, I'm sure, in the next part of this qualifying. And we have just over 5 minutes to go.
Right, so the top 10 at the moment is Bottas, Hamilton, Perez, Sainz, Norris, Leclerc, Gasly, Ocon, Vettel, and Verstappen. Verstappen obviously having his that time deleted as car number 44 is pushed into the back. Is pushed back into the Mercedes garage. They're very quickly getting the wheels off, Charlie. It's all hands on deck for the 2 minutes that the cars are going to be refueled and put back in the garages.
It's going to be interesting to see how that gets on with the race.
Right, 5 minutes to go. It's this time in the session now, Charlie, that we have a bit of the lull. They're in the garage, they're refueling, it's what's happening. And then in about 2 minutes' time, it's going to be absolute chaos again.
Probably going to be chaos, I'm sure. I'm sure many people are going to be very excited to see how the end of this qualifying session gets on.
You'll be right, Charlie. Right, let's have a look at some more of the tweets that we've been... We'll have a look at Instagram this time, actually, as we had a look at Twitter last time. Let's get it up. Where is it? Right, let me have a look. Those are pictures, really, Charlie, just on Instagram. Not many comments. A lot of people saying, right, our cars are going back out. So we're gonna forget about the comments for the moment, and we'll get back to them in just a few moments.
Radio. Oh, we haven't.
Okay, I guess we just keep doing the same. Yeah, roger that.
Now
Right,
Verstappen on the radio.
The Mercedes, Charlie, leading the pack away. They've got out at front this time. They've come out slightly early. I wonder if that's caught everyone else off guard, Charlie. I think they're going to probably go for the double warm-up lap again.
Potentially. It's going to be interesting.
Obviously, they relayed Portimao last year, Charlie. We haven't got that tarmac issue anymore because they've had quite a lot of events and test events over the winter, and obviously race events at the start of the season.
Yeah.
It's regularly used, isn't it, Portimao?
Yeah.
So they're going to do 2 prep laps, Charlie. They're going to be certainly needing to be getting on with it. Because it normally takes 1 minute 40 seconds, and there's only 2.5 minutes left on the clock. So I don't think there's going to be time for 2 prep laps here, Charlie. They might.
Probably not.
Bottas radio. Wind has picked up, is what Bottas is being told by his race engineer. It is, Charlie. It's really picked up. It's about 22 kilometers now. That wind coming from turn 1 and going up towards turn 14. It was only about 11 kilometers at the start of the session. So it really has doubled. It has doubled. You're right, Charlie. Almost doubled. Right, Verstappen is coming. Verstappen's doing 1 lap for the warm-up. He's on it. Verstappen is on it, on the soft tyres. He plunges down the hill towards turn 1. He's 10th fastest. He needs to get this lap, Charlie. Absolutely spot on. Through turn 3 he goes. And he's going to rise up the hill towards turn 4. Keeps it within the limits. He's bumping over the bumps. He's 1/10 down, over 10th down on the first sector. Into turn 5 he goes. Goes wide on the exit of turn 5, but keeps it on the track. Through turn 7 and up towards turn 8 he goes. He rises up the hill and plunges down it. Lovely helicopter shot through turn 9. What's his second sector going to be, Charlie? He is what is it? He's 3.5 temps down, Charlie.
He's struggling
on his old time. Verstappen, he's not doing it, Charlie. He's not lighting up the timing screens through turn 13 and 14. He's getting compromised by the Aston Martin through turn 15 as well. Verstappen towards the line.
Goes third.
Racing up the hill. Third fastest for Max Verstappen, Charlie. That's a bit better from the
It's an
Red Bull.
improvement, but still not where Red Bull, I don't think, want to be.
No. Where in the Mercedes, Charlie? They're going to be touch and go whether they cross the line in time for their laps.
Mm.
Right, Sainz. Verstappen used everything, didn't he? He's got nothing left. Sainz. Right, Hamilton's down on his first set to time. What is he going to do for his second time? Checkered flag is out for Q3.
Ocon 6th quickest.
Carlos Sainz 5th fastest. Ocon 6th. Hamilton's half a second down. Bottas looks like he's going to get the pole position at Portimao this afternoon. Oh, he's gone wide at turn 14 as well. It's a really scruffy lap. Hamilton's on the medium tyres, Charlie. At Q3, Bottas doesn't improve. Is it pole number 100 for Lewis Hamilton? No, it's not.
Bottas is on pole. Wow.
Valtteri Bottas is on pole position for the Portuguese Grand Prix by 7 milliseconds.
I mean, Sainz 5th for Ferrari. That's a decent qualifying from him, actually.
It's a Mercedes one too.
Leclerc only 8.
7 milliseconds. It doesn't get tighter than that, does it, Charlie?
It doesn't as well. I'm just going over some of the other performances in that as well. Leclerc only 8 for Ferrari. A little bit disappointing from him, actually. I was expecting him to be fighting up there in the front. Lando Norris 7th. Solid session from him. I don't think McLaren's greatest session, but that he'll be pleased with 7th after Ricciardo's woes earlier. And Esteban Ocon, a 6th place for him. That's a very strong performance from Alpine in this qualifying session.
That is, you're right, Charlie. Carlos Sainz starts 5th. It's the first time that Bottas has taken pole since the Sakia Grand Prix, Charlie.
It
Bottas,
is, yeah. Bottas only 8th in Imola, and he's now up to pole today. So it's going to be very interesting. Hamilton, no, not claiming his 100th pole today.
Yeah. 7 milliseconds, Charlie. If you're Hamilton, you're absolutely gutted, aren't you? 7 milliseconds. That's all it was.
Mercedes are on the medium tyres as well. That was an interesting decision.
Should Hamilton have gone out on the softs?
Potentially.
And it is the all-time lap record at Portimao as well for Valtteri Bottas as well, Charlie.
1:18.348 for Valtteri Bottas.
You're right. It's a topsy-turvy qualifying session, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A mixed-up grid for tomorrow's race. That's what we like. The Hamilton-Verstappen duel is set to continue. But Red Bull, look, Charlie, a long way behind the Silver Arrows at the moment.
They do. I think the qualifying, they did turn it around in the end, I think, did Red Bull. But earlier on, they were really struggling with pace. And I think that just the car might have been a bit unstable in some sections of the track.
Yeah, you're right, Charlie. Verstappen, Charlie, looks absolutely furious. I don't know what's happened. I wonder if he's having a chat with his teammate Sergio Perez and he's telling the camera to go away. He's not very happy, is Max Verstappen.
Has Verstappen been compromised by a driver on his lap? That could be a question.
I'm just wondering that, Charlie.
Was it an Aston Martin or was it someone else?
I don't know, Charlie. The Aston Martin looked to be in his way out the final few corners.
If that's the Aston Martin, that's Sebastian Vettel.
And that will be a free pace grid penalty as well, Charlie.
Yeah, for impeding another driver. We're just going to check what's happened.
And now Verstappen is back, Charlie, and he's fist bumping Valtteri and Lewis. So
That's great to see that.
clearly he
Verstappen.
calmed down a bit now.
He must have had it must have been compromised by someone on his flying lap.
He must have been, Charlie. Right, top 3 time, Charlie. Interview time.
Max, I know you're not going to be happy with that. You're lining up P3. You actually set the quickest lap time in that session, but you got track limits. Tell me from your point.
Yeah, low qualifying was very difficult to drive, so I was struggling a lot with grip. Yeah, that first lap in Q3 was decent, but I just had a big moment in 4, so I went a little bit off track. But yeah, I was quite confident that we could do another good lap. But in the last sector, it was just car in front in the last 2 corners just disturbs you, and especially with the low grip we already have, and the top wind out here, it basically cost me a lot of lap time. But it's what it is.
It's a tricky one with strategy. Some guys going for that extra warm-up, but you could nail it. Looking ahead to tomorrow, do you think you've got a car that you can fight these 2 Mercedes up front?
Yeah, it's of course not ideal, but we'll try to fight them tomorrow in the race, see what we can do. Hopefully everything stabilizes a bit more, because up until now it's not been a lot of fun to drive here.
It was a good place to start P3 last time out. Listen, good luck ahead of tomorrow. On to go. Valtteri, if you ever needed a confidence booster, that was what was going to nail it. Lining up P1 tomorrow and replicating last year.
Yeah, it's a good feeling to be involved. Feels like it's been a while, so it was nice to get a good qualifying. It's been the weak point for me in the first 2 races, getting the tires to work. But yeah, again this weekend we've been working hard, and it's nice to see it paying off and puts me into good position for tomorrow.
Obviously, a completely different tyre strategy for you guys at the very end there. Did the conditions go away? You weren't able to improve in your first one?
Yeah, you know, the whole weekend it's been so feeling with those soft tires. Been feeling better with the medium, and like last year we put the medium tire at the end of the qualifying. It worked, and we tried again, but I think maybe the wind picked up in the last run, and I couldn't quite get the temperature in them. So yeah, I'm glad that we still had a good result, obviously, and tomorrow starting with the medium tire. I think it's good. It opens up opportunities that we can go pretty much as long as we want in the first thing.
Simple. What's the plan for tomorrow?
Yeah, need to focus on the race start and go from there. But we know the plans.
All the best. Lewis, an exceptional lap in Q2, and then the conditions obviously went a bit away from you, but lining up in the front row and ahead of Max, I guess that's the important bit.
Yeah, great job by Valtteri, and it's a great job by our team for us to be in the front row. It's definitely not expected this weekend, so we've got to be happy with that. And it's good, obviously, Max obviously pulled something out towards the end, but not sure where they were earlier on. But not the perfect lap, but given everything.
Are you satisfied the way the team's moving forward, allowing you to have the car to keep here competing against Max and keep pushing? Obviously, Red Bull aren't going to give you a break.
I don't think we can ever be satisfied. We that's what we exist to do is continue to push forward. So, but I'm definitely happy with the work that we're doing and the steps that we offer.
Well done today. All the best tomorrow.
So, Charlie, drivers there, Verstappen visibly disappointed, and saying that the Aston Martin compromised his lap. It's not penalty worthy, I don't think, if he's just there, is he? If he's trying to move over, I don't think that's penalty worthy.
No. If he was out the way, he'd be fine.
Right. We're going to bring an end to this live stream now. We will see you tomorrow at 2:35. 25-minute build up to lights out at 3 o'clock. We will see you then. Have a great rest of your day.